Who are safer drivers, men or women? Well, according to a new survey, 55% of adults feel that women are most responsible for minor fender benders, while 78% blame men for most fatal crashes. Please note that the percentages in these pie graphs do not add up to 100% because the math was done by a woman. For those of you hissing at that joke, it should be noted that that joke was written by a woman. So now you don't know what the hell to do, do you? No, I'm just kidding. We don't hire women.
Comedy, the timeless art of making people laugh, has been a cornerstone of human interaction since the dawn of civilization. It helps us break ice, build friendships, relieve stress, challenge authority, signal sexual attraction, and confront life's uncomfortable truths. Yet, despite its profound role in our lives, surprisingly little has been written about the philosophy of comedy or the universal mechanics of humor. Even more striking is the negative stance many early philosophers took toward humor. That's precisely why this video exists. Together, we'll explore the major theories of comedy and attempt to craft a unified, non-judgmental perspective on what makes people laugh, building upon the usual explanations of comedy, contrast.
मेरे को समझ नहीं आता होती कैसे इन्फ्लेशन यार। जब हमारे स्कूल में हमारी मैडम इन्फ्लेशन के बारे में सिखा रही थी, मैंने उनको एक सिंपल सवाल पूछा कि मैडम एक बात बताओ, अगर पैसा प्रिंट करने की मशीन इंडिया के पास ही है तो कितना पैसा प्रिंट कर लो बहनचोद। तो मैडम ने कहा देखो समय, बहनचोद मत बोला करो क्लास में।
Exaggeration.
तुमने को इंडियाज गॉट टैलेंट में हर साल एक बंदा आके ट्यूबलाइट खा रहा है। ये कैसा टैलेंट है ये? उसका बच्चा कहीं स्ट्रीट लाइट से पढ़ रहा है कि बाप ने फिर ट्यूबलाइट खा लिया यार। बाप को रोको यार, कैसे बनूंगा मैं आईएएस। और तुमने देखा होगा जब भी कोई इंडियाज गॉट टैलेंट में ऐसा कुछ रिस्की करता है ना, कोई ट्यूबलाइट खा रहा है, कोई तलवार खा रहा है, किरण खेर पहले ही डर जाती है। मैं नहीं देख सकती हूँ ये, क्या पता उससे कुछ हो जाए। अरे आप देखो ना यार, क्या पता उससे कुछ हो जाए। Still studying, doing what?
Mass communication.
Mass communication, आपको बात करने पसंद है। शो के बीच में मत करो ना बस।
Henry Bergson, in its seminal work Laughter 1900, offers one of the most comprehensive theories of comedy. He argues that comedy arises from mechanicality, the reduction of life to something mechanical, stripped of its humanity. Bergson succinctly puts it, comedy is derived from situations in which where we should find life, we find mere matter. In simpler terms, comedy emerges when living beings or dynamic situations are perceived as static, mechanical, or object-like. It is the incongruity between what we associate with being human and what we observe that makes us laugh. Here's a Slavoj Žižek joke on the literal mechanization of intrinsically human sex.
You don't have only dildos, plastic penises. Now you also have plastic vaginas. It's called stamina training unit. I make a date with a lady. She comes with her dildo, I come with my stamina training unit. We sit down, we plug in both machines, we put dildo into stamina training unit and just observe the two machines.
This perspective also helps explain why puns and other forms of wordplay are so entertaining. They rely on language, a uniquely human construct imbued with meaning. Meaning is what fundamentally distinguishes humans from other forms of life. We instinctively project meaning onto everything around us. Without this human layer of interpretation, words are just sounds, mechanical vibrations with no inherent significance.
First time I'm meeting this person, we were about to get on the highway and suddenly he took a U-turn, okay? And I was like, sir, aapne U-turn kyun liya? And he turned around, he's like, guess. I was like, what? He's like, guess. I was like, आप सीधा बता दो ना क्यों किया है आपने. He's like, ma'am, guess. Gas भरना.
By manipulating words, Pants exposed the absurdity of language itself, revealing its dual nature as both meaningful and at its core just a collection of phonetic noises. Lines on the Antiquity of Microbes is commonly cited as the shortest poem ever written. The poem reads in full, Adam had him. Mimicry in a similar fashion reduces a human being to the kinds of sounds they make.
And you sided with your mother like a gay guy. If my father treated my mother like I would side with him like a real man. Joe, you've never visited the Midwest. Everyone knows it. Illinois loves Donald Trump.
That is.
I wish I had a joke there, but I'm getting into character too much.
Now, in this Shane Gillis impersonation of Trump, there's a lot of satire as well. We'll look into it later. Also, mimicries are often exaggerations. Meaning, a fundamentally human virtue, will serve as a recurring theme throughout this discussion. Now, shifting gears, let us examine Zakir Khan's style of observational comedy.
Your partner is almost like your father. जैसे कि अगर मान लो तुम फेल हो गए, कम नंबर आ गए, तो तुम्हारे पापा डांटते हैं, है ना? अब पापा कब डांटना बंद करेंगे, कौन डिसाइड करेगा? पापा. ऐसे बंदी का मूड कब सही होगा, किसको पता है? बंदी को. आप उसमें कुछ कर सकते हो, चुपचाप अपना होमवर्क कंप्लीट करके रखो, बाहर खेलने मत जाना.
What sets Zakir apart isn't just his unparalleled emotional depth, something that feels almost divine, but his ability to make you laugh through sheer relatability. Relatability is inherently funny because as individuals we naturally experience life from our own perspective. Only from our own perspective. We see ourselves as singular beings living out our unique lives. In our everyday awareness, humanness feels like an intensely personal individual experience. But when someone like Zakir makes an observation so universally shared, it disrupts that perception. It's as if the universality of the experience strips it of its personal context, making it feel almost mechanical. And that's what makes it funny. It's a reminder of the collective patterns that bind us all. Observations become particularly compelling when they expose absurdities in the world. Things so ridiculous that we, as rational and thoughtful beings, rarely stop to question them in our daily lives. These are the kinds of insights that disrupt the linear patterns of human thought, revealing the strange and unexpected beneath the surface. Yet, paradoxically, Bergson asserts that comedy is intrinsically human. We don't laugh at natural phenomena or the behavior of animals unless we project human traits onto them. Here, I diverge slightly from Bergson's linguistic framework. While he sees comedy as the stripping away of humanness, I argue that laughter often stems from behaviors, abilities, or traits we don't want to recognize as human, but subconsciously know they are. In this sense, comedy isn't just about reducing life to mechanism. It's about deviations from our idealized sense of humanness. This broader perspective may provide a more universal theory of comedy. To be clear, I am not saying that Bergson was wrong. His idea that comedy is deeply tied to the human experience is still valuable, and we'll return to it later. But for now, I want to approach the topic from a slightly different angle. Take for instance a person tripping over. It's funny precisely because it defies our expectations of human motor abilities. A joke about railing somebody's mother is offensive, yes, but funny because it subverts what we consider acceptable within the bounds of human sensibility. Cat videos, those perennial favorites, are funny because, well, they are not human. And you crack a racist joke when you dehumanize a person or a group.
There's a lot of Asians for Trump out there. Do you know that? Or how do Asians feel about Trump?
Well,
Let's say it, man.
can I say something to you?
Yeah.
I'm not the president of Asians. I seem to think that you seem to think that I'm their leader. Like every month there's a gathering, right? And I get all this information from people.
Yeah.
Right. And then I go out to the world. I'm their spokesperson or something. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
You're like Kim Jong-un.
No, I'm not Kim Jong-un.
You're like a smaller like Scam Jong-un.
I've always wanted to ask you this. Do you feel Asian? Like, does it feel Asian when you wake up in the
No,
morning?
no, no, no. See, that's a funny thing. That's a good question, dude. That's ridiculous.
Fighting with black kids is tough. I don't know if you ever fought a bunch of black dudes, but they win. They win, dude. Dude, I got jumped one time after a football game by 5 black dudes. I don't know if you ever fought 5 black dudes at night. Just imagine you're fighting 5 black dudes, right? Now close your eyes. Now how many black dudes are you fighting? As many as your imagination can hold. And white kids are horrible too, man. It was just in poverty. It's just that's what's going on, man. And if you're a black guy and you feel like that's racially insensitive, then imagine you're fighting 5 white dudes in a cloud.
Bergson also emphasizes that comedy appeals to the intellect, not the emotions. To laugh, we must detach ourselves emotionally, becoming spectators rather than participants. Comedy requires a level of dispassionate observation. It demands that we think rather than feel. It is often said that comedy equals to tragedy plus time. Now, what happens when you give something time is that your emotions subside and rationality takes over. Lenny Bruce's infamous clip exemplifies this intellectual basis of comedy. During one performance, Bruce provocatively identified audience members by racial and ethnic slurs.
Are there any niggers here tonight? What did he say? Are there any niggers here tonight? Jesus Christ, he had to get that low for laughs. Have I ever talked about the Schwarzer when the Schwarzers have gone? Or spoke about the Moulin Johns? Or placated some southerner by absence of voice and you ranted and raved about nigger, nigger, nigger? Are there any niggers? I know the one nigger that works here. I see him back there. Oh, there's 2 niggers, customers, and, but between those 3 niggers sits 1 kike. Thank God for the kike. 2 kikes. That's 2 kikes and 3 niggers and 1 spick. 1 spick. 3 spicks. 1 mick. 1 mick, 1 spick, 1 hick, fick, funky, spunky boogie. And there's another kike. 3 kikes. 3 kikes, 1 guinea, 1 greaseball. 3 greaseballs, 2 guineas. 2 guineas, 1 hunky, funky, lace curtain Irish mick. That mix, spick, funky, hunky, boogie. 5 more niggers, 5 more niggers. I pass with 6 niggers and 8 mix and 4 spicks.
At first, the audience reacted with shock and outrage, unable to reconcile the offensive nature of the words with the act itself. But as Bruce continued, piling on every derogatory term imaginable, the words began to lose their emotional charge. They became absurd, stripped of their offensive connotations, and reduced to mere sounds. Mechanical repetitions devoid of meaning. At that moment, the audience shifted from emotional reaction to intellectual realization. They laughed, not at the slurs themselves, but at the transformation of language into a meaningless mechanical exercise. When something is stripped of meaning, when it becomes arbitrary or absurd, it often becomes funny. This is what we call anti-comedy. Absolutely arbitrary and meaningless utterances can make us laugh, especially when placed where we would expect a coherent joke.
My doctor says, "You are fat." I said, "How fat am I?" He said, "You're so fat that if you don't stop, within a month you could have a heart attack or stroke."
That's not funny.
Well, he's not a comedian.
No. I was expecting a joke.
You're expecting a joke?
Yeah, I thought it sounded like yours.
From my cardiologist?
I guess.
The human brain is naturally drawn to patterns and order. According to the incongruity theory of comedy, humor arises when these expectations are disrupted.
That an American and a Russian were arguing about the differences between our 2 countries. And the American said, "Look, in my country I can walk into the Oval Office, I can hit the desk with my fist and say, 'President Reagan, I don't like the way you're governing the United States.'" And the Russian said, "I can do that." The American said, "What?" He says, "I can walk into the Kremlin, into Brezhnev's office, I can pound Brezhnev's desk, and I can say, 'Mr. President, I don't like the way Ronald Reagan is governing the United States.'"
Interestingly, irony, a close cousin of humor, also rooted in incongruence, mirrors this idea. While our minds crave structure, life itself is anything but linear. It often places us in random, chaotic situations that defy logic or explanation. Perhaps that's why religion holds such a deep appeal. It offers a sense of meaning and order in the face of life's intrinsic unpredictability. As I mentioned earlier, historically, humor hasn't always been seen in a positive light. In fact, early philosophers like Plato viewed it with suspicion. He famously argued that it was unacceptable to depict respectable individuals as overcome by laughter. For Plato, humor had a degrading quality. It involved finding pleasure in something malicious. This perspective was shared by Aristotle, Epictetus, and the Stoics, whose ideas heavily influenced Christian ethics. Early Christian theologians took an even stricter stance. They associated laughter with insult and a lack of self-control. John Chrysostom, for example, issued a dire warning about the dangers of laughter. He claimed it could trigger a domino effect, starting with crude jokes and leading to insults, violence, and even murder. While this may seem like an exaggeration, it reflects the seriousness with which humor was viewed in religious contexts. Even today, humor often faces criticism from a religious perspective.
The Madhya Pradesh High Court has dismissed the bail applications of the comedian Munawar Farooqui and his aide Nalin Yadav in a case for alleging, the allegation is that they've hurt religious sentiments. They were arrested on the 2nd of January for allegedly hurting sentiments during their show. The court proceeded to dismiss the bail application after observing that the investigation is still in progress.
Religion emphasizes virtues like kindness and self-discipline, whereas laughter can feel unpredictable and even uncontrollable. It's not uncommon for good people to laugh at offensive jokes if they are delivered cleverly.
और भाई रफ्तार भाई आपके ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स जिंदा है क्या भाई? भाई मेरे नाना जी तो नींद में मर गए थे यार सच में. वो बेटर होता है ब्रो. नहीं मतलब उन्होंने आवाज लगाई थी, हम नींद में थे भाई.
In this sense, comedy can undermine the religious ideals of sobriety and seriousness. But comedy also serves an important purpose. It's a way for us to cope with life's harsh realities.
I was the most different guy in the school. मेरे पापा मम्मी कैसे तो उन्होंने मैंने देखा है how they afforded even that school. कि मेरे पापा मम्मी कहीं से ऐसे अलमारियों से पैसे निकाल रहे हैं, कैश रख रहे हैं नीचे, 50,000 रुपए बना रहे हैं, जोड़ रहे हैं, गुल्लक तोड़ के पैसे निकाल के जोड़ के अगले दिन फीस भर रहे हैं हम एडमिशन की. यार छू लोग के घर पे कोई आ रहा है, बड़ा हैप्पी टू सी गेस्ट. ओह अरे अंकल आए. You know, I was that kid. Suddenly I go to the school. First day I sit next to a guy. He looks at me and goes, easiest punching bag in the class, and I had like no defense, was not equipped to say anything back. I would try and fail, they would laugh at me. I used to cry in the bus, and when I was to come down, my mom would be standing there and I could not tell her because I've seen how they have put me to school. तो मैं एकदम आंसू पहुंच के मम्मी यार कैसा रहा दिन. मैं कहा क्या दिन था यार मम्मी, क्या दिन गया, आज तो बेस्ट दिन था एकदम. It was like that. So that somehow kind of helped me become this guy where I can manage my feelings, where I can talk to you. So 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, horrible, mentally draining years.
When we laugh at someone's shortcomings, it's not always out of malice. It's sometimes a way of managing our own feelings of guilt or helplessness. Humor in a way allows us to absolve ourselves of responsibility. It helps us. Although deeply flawed, Sigmund Freud's release theory of comedy, which suggests that humor serves as a way to release pent-up emotions or repressed thoughts, is best suited to describe this effect. According to Freud, jokes and laughter allow us to express suppressed desires, frustrations, or anxieties in a socially acceptable way. By laughing, we release these repressed feelings, providing relief from internal tension and making them easier to manage. And he believes because things like sex and hostility are so repressed, jokes on them are always funny. The tension between comedy and religion runs deeper when we consider the role of meaning. Religion represents humanity's highest capacity to create and uphold meaning. Comedy, on the other hand, thrives on subverting it. This is why jokes about religion often strike such a nerve.
मुझे ये बताओ इसका नाम होला राम क्यों रखा?
क्या है कि नाना जी का नाम राम था और ये होली के दिन पैदा हुआ तो उन्होंने इसका नाम होला राम रख दिया.
अच्छा हुआ जी, लोहड़ी के दिन पैदा नहीं हुआ.
Jokes challenge the very structures of meaning that religion seeks to uphold, making them uniquely provocative and powerful. It's not just religion that gives life meaning. All institutions, authorities, and establishments exist to impose human meaning on the chaotic, unpredictable nature of life, transforming it into something we can make sense of. Take marriage, for example, an institution built entirely by humans. Jokes about marriage are always funny because they remind us of its inherently human and sometimes absurd nature.
अरेंज मैरिज हो जब आज भी लड़की चाय की ट्रे लेके आती है. हाँ, इस चक्कर में बड़े कप प्लेट टूटे क्योंकि नीचे देख के आती है हमेशा. लेके आ रही है
ये सिस्टम होता है, लड़का देख रहा है, शर्मा रहा है। हालांकि मुझे ऐसा लगता है बाजी, जो अरेंज मैरिज वाले होते हैं ना, ये थोड़े ज्यादा स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड होते हैं, क्योंकि लव मैरिज वाले चलो एक दूसरे को जानते हैं पहले से, एक दूसरे के विचार पता है। अरेंज मैरिज वाले सीधा ही स्वागरात पे घूंघट उठाते बदतमीजी शुरू कर देते।
The same goes for jokes about any authority or institution. They resonate because they challenge these systems we've created to structure our lives. This is where satire thrives. By using irony, exaggeration, and ridicule, satire reveals the flaws and contradictions within these systems. Its purpose goes beyond entertainment. It provokes thought, questions societal norms, and often pushes us to rethink the way we see the world.
कोई और ऑपोजिशन है नहीं, जेन्युइन हमारे पास कोई ऑप्शन नहीं है, मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ, कोई ऑप्शन नहीं है। एक दिन हम लोग सब जाते हैं एयरपोर्ट और ब्रिटिशर्स को वापस बुलाते हैं। कोई ऑप्शन नहीं है, कोई ऑप्शन नहीं है, जाते बोर्ड लेके जाते हैं, साइमन कम बैक।
You've probably noticed that it's often oddly funny when people you dislike experience misfortune or the arbitrariness of life. I remember when Kangana Ranaut's Mumbai office was demolished by the BMC, I couldn't help but laugh. Rationally, all the values I had cultivated up until that point told me that laughing at such a thing was wrong. I knew it was unjust. I knew it was unkind of me to laugh at such a thing. But my intense dislike for her overpowered those rational thoughts. In that moment, I deviated from human empathy towards a more primal, almost animalistic feeling of satisfaction. It was perhaps the only instance of state brutality that I found myself truly enjoying. It just goes on to show how comedy can tickle our pre-theistic tendencies. Religious arguments often claim that it's our awareness of God that distinguishes humans from animals. Animals, they argue, lack a sense of meaning in life. This idea leads us to another theory of comedy. Comedy as play, laughter as play signal. According to this theory, comedy is inherently animalistic. In animal behavior, play refers to spontaneous, enjoyable activities that animals engage in without a direct survival purpose. These playful behaviors, which often involve repetitive movements and exaggerated actions, help animals develop physical skills, socialize, and learn about their environment. Play is a key part of growth and development, especially in young animals. Play signals like specific gestures are used by animals to indicate that no harm is intended during these interactions. Applying this to humans, this theory suggests that comedy functions like a form of play. Laughter in this context acts as a signal to others that the humor is harmless, creating a social space where we can interact without threat. Through comedy, we can voice uncomfortable realities, vent the frustrations of navigating an irrational world, and question authority or dominant ideologies, all without direct confrontation. But comedy is more than just a source of laughter. It's a means of liberation. By deconstructing the supposed meaning of human experience, it allows us to view the world from a perspective that is simultaneously detached and deeply insightful. It holds up a mirror, not to reflect who we truly are, but to expose the personas we project. While comedy often challenges what we perceive as human, this might be precisely why Bergson argues that it is an inherently human phenomena. Only humans have the capacity to both emotionally connect and intellectually detach, making comedy a uniquely human way of understanding and critiquing the world. Thank you for watching the video, and hey, don't apply the rules of comedy to Veer Das's material. Remember, there are two Indias. One where Veer Das is unfunny, and the other where you're still not laughing.